Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to yet another Stone Cold Hockey video to do with the 91-92 season. And we are the Chicago Blackhawks this year, trying to get us back to the Stanley Cup Finals. We were Pittsburgh. I was Pittsburgh last year for 91. So, it can't be Pittsburgh again. So, Chicago, we're 16, 12, and 3. Not half bad, but Detroit looking pretty hot out of the gate for the North Division. Toronto, Minnesota, and St. Louis are battling for those two wild card spots. Remember, it's the top four teams in each division make the playoffs: one versus four, two versus three, and the two division winners within each conference play each other in the conference finals, and then Stanley Cup finals. Calgary and Vancouver are battling in the Smythe. Edmonton and Winnipeg looking pretty good. LA and San Jose bring up the rear. But San Jose's not the worst team in the NHL. No, that's Philly. The Cupcakes, the Islanders, they're fifth place. Rangers, Washington, Pittsburgh, New Jersey are 1, 2, 3, 4, and they actually would be, I believe it was Pittsburgh third in 92 in real life or second, because I know the Rangers play the Devils in real life and Washington play Pittsburgh in real life. Meanwhile, Montreal's crushing it in the Adams. Boston's not doing so well. Hartford, Quebec, and Buffalo are fighting for those two spots. Julian Muller with 24 goals. Gary Roberts 22. Our big goal scorer is JR with 19. 7 guys with 20 goals. Brett Hall only has 20, which is unusual. Points wise, Sakic with 45. Kevin Stevens with 42. Mario Lemieux with 42. Vincent Dompus, his first year after leaving Toronto, 41. Our top point scorer is JR 25th at 33 points. Goaltending wise, Patrick Law, the best goals against, with Mike Richter and Tim Shovelday doing the job. Ed Belfour is 8th on the list. Standings wise, we've played 31 games. Well, we have the Islanders, Philly, and Hartford only playing 29 games. Or if you're Montreal's played 35, so Montreal's having a lot of fun so far. By points per percentage, Toronto should be down below, out of the playoffs. Anything else? The spot? No. Well, we've scored 99 goals, and the pitch ain't one. The pitch ain't one hit me. 88 against, 10-5-1 at home, 6-7-2 on the road. We just can't do well on the road. Highlights wise, 18 hat tricks, 8 games in with 30 or more. Islanders, San Jose, Fangram, the 8-6 game, which the expansion Sharks were up 4-0 and couldn't do it against the Cupcakes. Edmonton, Vancouver from December the 10th, when Vancouver was up 4-1, but lost 7-6. Ranford beating McLean, that was a big one. Hartford, Montreal, number 3 with a 6-5 win for Montreal. Hartford was up 4-1. And because of the quality play, we're just going to skim through the other 5. Anyway, let's go schedule-wise. We are in Philadelphia against the worst team in the NHL right now. It's weird. The Sharks are even better. And we have Eddie the Eagle against Ken Reggett for Philadelphia. Ron Haxo, the main goalie. He wasn't injured in 92 like he was in 91. Ken Reggett, the backup, but Reggett was traded to Pittsburgh for a backup to playoffs thing. So Dominic Russo had to be the backup. Our goalie, Ed Belfour, number 1. Dominic Hasek, number 2. People forget that Dom Hasek was a Chicago Blackhawk goalie. Jimmy Waite, the number 3, who had to actually play a few games before Belfour came back from contract negotiations. And Ray LeBlanc, the U.S. Olympic goalie. Our players are JR, great scoring Americano. Stevie Larmer, who once had an 880 career regular season games in a row, played until a contract holdout dispute. Michel Goulet, former Quebec icon. Brian Noodles Noonan, part of the 94 Rangers that went to the Stanley Cup Finals, like Steve Larmer. Brent Sutter, who we picked up from the Islanders, he has been a treat. Dirk Graham, the first black captain in Stanley Cup Finals history. Look it up, people. Mike Hudson, another 94 Ranger. Chris Chelios, second year coming from Montreal in the Denny Savard trade. Steve Smith, a big move by the Blackhawks to pick him up for Dave Manson. And it was big because Steve Smith was booed out of Edmonton, even though he won 3 fucking cups with the oil drops. Greg Gilbert, part of the 94 team. Rangers. Joseph Lemieux, Keith Brown. Mike Peluso, the left winger. Big guy, Brian Marchman, a goon. Stefan Matteau, part of the 94 Rangers as well. Mike Stapleton, Frank Cusera, Dan Fizzolette, Steve Conroy, Igor Kravchuk, John Tonelli, former Islander icon, and Tony Horchak. The Flyers, with Rod Brindamore, Rod the Bod, as they call him. Kevin Dineen, who would be a great player for the Flyers, but he went back to Hartford afterwards. Mike Ricci, the former number 5 pick in the draft that actually got traded to Quebec. Of course, the whole Eric Lindros move. This was the last year Ricci was in Philadelphia, moving to Quebec. Steve Duchesne as well. Art Pedersen did not go to Quebec. Harry Huffman did go to Quebec. I keep thinking Harry Huffman was Felicity. Probably not. Andre Lemakin, Rick Tocchet, great goal scorer, who went to Phil. I think he went to Pittsburgh for the one of Mark Recchi. That's right. Dan Quinn, Mark Howell, the legendary Mark Howell, still around. Pele Eklund, Keith Acton, Brad Jones, Mike Freer, quite fun. Terry Karkner, Shell Samuelson, who went to Pittsburgh. Dave Brown, the guy who got a 15-game suspension for Paul axing Thomas Sostrom. Corey Foster, Al Conrad, and Gordon Murphy. Here we go. 4 minutes into the first period, nothing doing. We're blue died because we're on the road. Foley takes the penalty. It's Boivin. Do we have a chance? Roanoke misses. Pedersen missed too. 2 minutes later. Chevskios. Noodles. Noonan has 13 from JR and Goulet makes it 1-0. We're trying to come back, but we don't let them happen. Shit, no. 2 minutes. Pocket from Vinny Clark. Philly, no. Huffman has 6. Gets a tight skewer. Brad Sutter is 13 from Tenali and Chelios. 2 minutes later. Sessions. We get penalized. It's Schussel and Lemieux. And they score it. Brad Jones and Quinn and Duchesne. Four minutes later. No. 1 minute later. Nope. 4 minutes later. For sure, in a fight between Jocelyn and Qued Boivin. That hurts us because Jocelyn Lemieux is It's 3-2 Flyers. 4 minutes. Penalty on them. Dave Brown, the bitch. Gretzky, power play goal. Jocelyn Lemieux, his 5th from Steve Larmer. I think that's like the 4th time in 4 TV appearances he scored a goal. Or something like that. Hoffman scores. He couldn't out. 6 minutes later. We're running out of time. Brad Sutter, top corner from Goulet and Chelios. We're tied. Well, 4-4 tie. In most cases, that gives us a point. But that doesn't, because ties can happen, but losses in overtime means we don't get the point. And we don't. We scramble. We chicken scramble our way to a point. 4-4 tie. Belfour and Reggett with the point. Unfortunately, the rule states that if we win, we move on to the next game. If we lose or tie, we have to simulate the next game. But we play Philadelphia anyway. We beat Philly 2-1. Reggett losing to Jimmy Waite. Larmer and Roenick scoring for Chicago. So yeah, in most cases, because this is the 75th anniversary season of the NHL, if the next game after a loss or a tie is in original 16, we play that one, and then the next one we simulate. All right, our next game is Los Angeles. Nope. Leafs on Wednesday night? No. We are hosting Montreal, so it is an original 6 showdown. Fortunately, we won. Well, we won anyway. Our second game, we played Montreal. Patrick Roy, St. Patrick against Eddie the Eagle, great matchup. One Belfort, two great Canadian goalies. While the main goalie, Rolly Muleson, the backup, and Andre Red Light Rassico, the third stringer. They have Kirk Muller, who Montreal traded Stefan Richer to the Devils to get Kirk Muller, thinking that Richer was the problem, but he had mental health problems, and playing in Montreal did not help matters, and being Quebecois. Kirk Muller, the second pick in the 84 draft after Martin Lemieux. Danny Savard, former Blackhawk, he's making his second appearance in Chicago. The fans do give him a standing ovation because of his contributions to the Blackhawks organization. Stéphane Lebeau, Brent Gilchrist, Gilbert Dion, Kitchener. That's right. Gilbert Dion, Kitchener Ranger, and Marcel's brother. Trust me, I'm not lying. Guy Carbonneau, the Shadow. Shane Corson, Mike McPhee, Mike Keane. Sylvain Turgeon, Pierre's brother, who was traded to Montreal for Claude Lemieux. Matt Schneider, great guy from Rhode Island. John LeClaire, also from Vermont, from the Northeast. And people forget, John LeClaire was a Montreal Canadian before a Flyer legend. Russ Cordo, Montreal also picked him up. That was a big trade with Toronto and sending John Kordick in the process. Eric Desjardins, great defenseman. Next year he would be a Stanley Cup hat trick guy. Peter Sobotta, former number 5 pick in the 1984 draft, surprising everyone, but Serge Savard, because Savard knew that Sobotta had defected. JJ Nanino, playing for many teams. Paul DiPietro, the next year he'd be a cult hero for Switzerland. Benoit Brunet, Sylvain Lefebvre, Brian Screwland, who once scored 9 seconds into a Stanley Cup Finals game. Overtime. Patrice Brisebois, a youngster. Lyle Oderline. Remember, we just do the non-goalies. 3 minutes into the game, they can't score. 4 minutes later, there was a hit. Well, of course, Chelios is playing his former team. Agitator, they get agitated. It's Oderline. And we can't score. And now it's another penalty. Muller. And another penalty. Sobotta. He had Roenick, so Sobotta in the box. But we take a damn penalty. It's Steve Smith. Damn you. Open ice? No thing. They have a power play chance, and they don't score. So many minutes in the stuff. 3 minutes later. They score. Matt Schneider from Desjardins and Dandino makes it 1-0. I don't know why they had 3 defensemen. Maybe I'll take a penalty. It's Desjardins. So we score. Actually, wait till after the horn. Noodles Noonan, his 14 from Goulet and Runick. 2 minutes later. I thought we had him to go much later. Penalty on Ronick. They have a chance and they miss. They have a chance. 4 minutes. Penalty on Chicago. It's Chelios. Well, until this one on the 1-1 through 40. JD. 2 minutes later. Second chance steal or Sylvain Turgeon from Savard and Brisebois. 2-1. And 3 minutes later. Then somebody gets whacked. 2 minutes later. And then Sutter is 15 from Kratchuk and JR makes it 2-2. 4 minutes later. We got penalties. Keith Brown. And they score LeBeau from Keane and Corson. Boom. 2 minutes later. Chance to tie. No. Chance? No. Empty net. Montreal's on a roll. They went 3-2. We can't believe that freaking Denny Savard ruined us. He got 1 assist, but not on the winning goal, at least. We're down. We lose 3-2, so that means the next game we must simulate. We're in New Jersey. Well, we have to simulate, remember? And we lose to the Devils 3-2. Billington beats Dominic Hasek. Craig Billington, really? Marchman and Ronick scored, but Lemieux Filgrain, the pride of Haiti. 2 goals from Filgrain, the pride of Haiti. We host St. Louis. We have to simulate, obviously. And we beat them 4-1 as Cujo losing at Belfort Brett Hall did get his 22nd goal. Noonan, Goulet, Chelios, and Brent Sutter with the goals for Chicago. I've rarely had to call the words Kitchener. No. Next game, Calgary Edmonton. Calgary Edmonton. I think we have the Christmas break. Yeah, we have the Christmas break and we go to St. Louis. That's our third game, right? Yes. Now, St. Louis, we already played St. Louis, but because I didn't play St. Louis, I had to simulate against St. Louis. This counts. And Chicago announces Ray LeBlanc will get the start against Guy Hebert for St. Louis. It's kind of a weird thing. Hasek and Cujo, but yeah. Ray LeBlanc gets the start for Chicago and Guy Hebert for St. Louis. Cujo, the main goalie for St. Louis, but I think they were upset with his loss. So Guy Hebert, the backup. This was, of course, the last season before Hebert was picked in the expansion draft by the Duckies. Pachablonsky also there, and Vincent Riando before he went to Boston. So St. Louis, the Golden Bread, of course, Brett Hall. You know, Chicago's big because his father, Bobby Hall, played for the Hawks. Brendan Shanahan, St. Louis Blue. The Blues signed him from the Devils, and the Blues had to give up a player, and then it means Scott Stevens. It actually was a win-win. Nelson Emerson, Jeff Brown, great defenseman. Dave Christian, part of the American Ice team. Ron Sutter, so Ron facing his older brother Brent. Ron Wilson, I don't know if it's the same Ron Wilson that was the coach. Adam Oates, Oates between Marley Grove before he was traded to Boston. Paul Cavallini, Rich Sutter. So the Sutter twins, Rich and Ron, playing for St. Louis. Gino Cavallini, Bob Basson, Dave Lowry, Garth Butcher, Rick Sambo, Michelle Mungo, Lee Norwood, Devil, Murray Barron, Darren Kimball, Philippe Bousson from France, Kelly Chase, Kurt Giles, former North Star, at the top. 3 minutes later. St. Louis delivers some hits. Much later. 4 minutes. We're blue, remember. 4 minutes later. Chesky Yards. Shot over the Hudson River. His sixth from Larmer and Stapleton makes it 1-0. 4 minutes later. Skiers. Who shot JR? JR shot the puck. His 22nd from Kucherov. 3 minutes later? No. Split? Oh, we went for the split and no. Larmer tried to score. 4 minutes later. We get a penalty. It's Goulet. Red Hall. 2 outs. 2-1. I love you. 1 minute later, they get penalized. It's Sutter. It does. Which one? Who cares? I was Rich. 2-1 Blackhawks. 40 minutes. 1 minute later? No. They couldn't tie it. Chance for us? No. 4 minutes later. They score. Butcher from Mungo makes it 2-2. Much later. Injury. Chicago. Injury. Peluso in the box. Peluso. Red Hall scores. 3-2. If Red Hall, if he needs the daylight, he'll slam it home. High speed attack. Shanny gets whacked by Jocelyn. Shorthanded from Chelios and Crucera. Brent puts one in and sticks it to his younger brother with 21 seconds left. Shorthanded. It's 3-3. We go to overtime. 3 minutes later. Oh, Graham. We had a chance, and nope, we got a point from St. Louis. Brent Sutter saved us a point. But in the end, it's a tie, which means we have to simulate the next game, of course. And we play Winterpeg, and we lose in overtime to them. Troy Murray, former Blackhawk, sticking it to us. O'Neill beating Belfour. Okay. He's like, how could you lose? We're almost done December. Almost done December. Well, we host Detroit. Well, that technically is a. Well, technically we have to. We can't. The next game is against Detroit because the original six. We are second in the division, seven back in Detroit. St. Louis, Toronto, Minnesota are fighting for that third spot. Vancouver, Calgary, Winnipeg is now entering the fray for the smite. Edmonton's fourth, LA 32, San Jose 21. Now they're the worst again. Montreal looking good against Boston and Hartford. Buffalo and Quebec are fighting for fourth. It's Rangers, Washington, Pittsburgh, Devils, and Islanders are fighting it out. Jerry Roenick has 22 now. No one's at 30 yet. Well, Brad Hall's at 25, but Roberts and Mullen are fighting it out. Ed Belfour is eighth in goals against. So that's just what I'm saying. That's just what I'm saying. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.